In this video, I'm going to quickly talk about the DateTime class, which is a class inherent to the .NET framework that can be used in F# to manipulate DateTime objects. Now, DateTime objects are quite good or quite handy when you want to work with dates because it's much more convenient than strings. There are many methods for manipulating them, and so one thing that I wanted to just highlight in this video is it's quite common that people initiate these in a suboptimal way. So let me show you in an F# interactive window what I mean. So we enter F# interactive, and for this to work, we're going to have to load the system package. So let me just write open system like that. And let's say we wanted to define a date time. Something that I see quite often and that I wouldn't recommend when doing this is to initialize it like the following. So let's say we call it A, and then you would write date time.parse like so, and then you could technically enter a string here. So let's say we do 2023, and then 0130, let's say. So 30th of January 2023. Like that, we can execute this and that will work. So we can see that we get a DateTime object on the 30th of January 2023. The reason why this is problematic is because I can do something quite similar. Let's say I write let B equals the same thing, but I invert these two. So I write 30th here and 01 here. And what's going to happen now is this is going to break. And the reason is quite obvious because right now, what F# is going to think is that the 30th here corresponds to a month. And of course, there are only 12 months in a year, so this is not going to work. That's why we get this error here. And the reason why this is problematic is which one of these conventions is in place depends on what operating system and what language preferences and so forth you're using. So this is a very unreliable way of actually initiating a DateTime object. What I would recommend everyone to do when working with DateTime objects is to initialize them in the following way instead. So let C, in this case, be equal to a new DateTime object. And then there's this constructor. You can see already that this is actually C# code that we're writing here. So this is not F# code, but the syntax is that of C#. So this is a .NET method or a .NET class, and therefore you would initialize it like you would in C#. So new DateTime object, and then in the constructor here you can specify the year, the month, and the day. So if I do that and I press enter, then you're going to see that this actually works. And regardless of what operating system you're using, the constructor here, the DateTime constructor, always has this syntax. So even if I copy this, I could generate a script real quick up here. So if I just save this as something very quick. Okay, I just give this some random name. If I put this here, what you're going to see, and I need to open system for this to work like I did in my F# interactive window. There we go. If I hover over, let's say I were to repopulate this constructor here, you can see that if I start typing out these things here, let's do 230 like that. You can see here that in the constructor we have year, month, day. So this is the constructor we're currently using. And you can see that this is a constructor defined in the method, and so that's never going to change depending on your system. So this is how I would recommend initializing DateTime objects whenever you use them.